Two. So thank you everyone for being on time and welcome to our session where we have a very special guest. His name is Chenmu Wu. Chenmu is actually a UI/UX lead at Daraz, which is a startup, and he works there on a full-time basis. Before he joined Daraz, Chenmu was actually the senior UX designer at Shopee itself. And one of the things we're going to talk about today with our special guest is the impact of AI in UX design. And the reason why we invited Chenmu to come to our session today is because he has actually created a plugin that allows you to generate wireframes instantly. And that plugin is actually connected with ChatGPT. And his plugin went viral. And Chenmu claims that it's just a weekend project, so he's on his way to improve it a lot more, but it looks like it has been quite popular. So today we're going to talk about all things AI. And just to share a little bit more about Chenmu's background, he graduated from university with a degree in architecture. So any of you who are UX designers and have an architecture degree, you can give me a thumbs up over here. And he has worked for Shopee for 4 years and played a pivotal role in initiating the migration from Sketch to Figma. And definitely he's very, very passionate about Figma and how Figma is going to help designers do better work. Okay, so he's one of the primary contributors for the Shopee Design System. So if you're a user of Shopee, you'll probably see his work over there. Okay, so Daraz is part of Alibaba, is that right, Chenmu?
Yeah. We're currently under.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is really quite interesting, and he oversees a team of 5 designers from Pakistan and Singapore, where they are driving innovation and fostering a user-centric design solutions within the organization. So Chenmu, we're really excited to have you here. I believe probably this is the first time you're speaking publicly about your app outside of your own LinkedIn profile. Am I right?
Yes. It's the first time. Yeah, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So Chenmu, first of all, thank you for being on the show, and I want to actually ask you a very quick question. What exactly do you do for Alibaba, and what exactly do you do at work?
Yeah, so currently I'm the lead UI/UX designer in Daraz. So we are actually the leading e-commerce platform in South Asia. So you can think of, if you use Shopee or Lazada, then we are the South Asia version of Lazada for Daraz. So I guess none of the participants are from South Asia, so you may not heard of the company, but we're doing exactly the same thing. Not exactly like a very similar model of business model, but we are just doing it in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, these countries. So
awesome.
As the lead UI/UX designer, what I do is not only leading the design team, overseeing the design, but personally I also do the design for all the buyer side related design requests. So all the apps, our app and our desktop web app, I'm actually the designer for these platforms. And in the team, we are also designing for our seller platform, for our advertisement platform, our live, and then financial services. So that's the entire design team's job. So for me, usually I will just review and oversee the designs. And of course, in order for all the product managers and UI designers to collaborate well, we need a work process and also a good design system. So I'm leveraging on my experience in building Shopee's design system. So I'm trying to build up a very quick setup of the design system here. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's interesting that you're working on a foreign market. Do you have to travel to Pakistan often, or what's
Oh,
going on? Are you working fully remote?
most of the time is remote. Actually, I just traveled to Pakistan. Is it last week or the week before?
Mm,
So, it's the first time I go there, and I interviewed our sellers, our users, and it's a very
mm.
interesting experience there. And I'm planning to go to Bangladesh soon. Yeah,
Okay, that's awesome. I'm wondering if we have listeners and friends from Bangladesh or Pakistan. Please just say
it
hello
would be
if you
really
are
cool.
actually. It'll be
Yeah.
really cool. Sometimes we have people from South Asia come join us. But yeah, today we are here to talk about this plugin that you created, and I'm just going to quickly share my screen. I believe it's called Wireframe Designer, right? So this particular plugin that you have, it's used by 25,500 people. It's got 700 likes. I would say by any standards, I would consider that going viral. And you're using ChatGPT. So maybe you want to share with us like what prompted you to create something like that on Figma? Like what prompted you to write a plugin yourself?
Yeah. For me, actually, ChatGPT has been the viral thing for quite a long time. And to me, actually, it is to my surprise that there isn't a very good UI generation tool out in the market yet. You know, we have Midjourney that generate a lot of images, and we have ChatGPT for text generation. But it's very natural as a UI designer to think about whether we can have a tool that can use AI to generate UI design easily. So it's actually to my surprise, there isn't a very complete product yet. Even as of now, I think the most complete product that I see out in the market is probably Framer. Recently, they released their AI. But when I tried out that, it's more suitable only for, landing page, the kind of basic layout. But yeah, so to me, it's actually a very natural thing to think about, what we can do to leverage leverage AI's power to generate UI design. Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. And how early were you experimenting with ChatGPT? Like how many? Because you released this this plugin in April,
Yeah, it's
or
like
rather
4 months ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you released this in April, but how early were you playing with ChatGPT already?
Actually, it's since GPT-3, I guess, because GPT-3 is really something that is
Mm,
good enough for us to have a
mm,
very meaningful conversation. And then, yeah, it's a good enough model for us to experiment a lot of possibilities with it. So I think since the release of GPT-3, it's already a hit
mm,
on Twitter and all
mm.
other platforms. Um,
Wow.
and then
And
when
yeah, you catch on it pretty. I just want to add an information. You catch on it pretty fast because GPT-3 was only released in the middle of March. So it looks like you were experimenting, and then immediately within a
no
month you decided to build a plugin.
no GPT that's
Oh,
3.5. GPT-3 is actually
March 2022. Sorry, corrections
yes,
on that. So that it was about slightly more than a year ago.
yeah.
Where it was released, and you spend some time playing with it before you decide to actually build a plugin.
Yes, 3.5 is actually really next big hit that
Mm,
it's I would say its level of intelligence really it's another level comparing to GPT-3. So I just feel very excited about it, and it can code, and it's also that it can definitely generate some content that is can be easily processed by machine. So that's
awesome.
great opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. So while you're preparing a demo, maybe let me just sort of like frame a few questions that maybe people have in mind. And I'd like to invite the audience as well. If you have any questions, just feel free to type it in chat. Feel free to let us know. We're open to taking questions. I'm sure you all have a lot of questions about AI and how AI is going to affect design or the creative industry. So we'll actually talk about that. But I wanna kind of give Chenmu a chance to show off his work and his plugin as well. So Chenmu, are we ready to do like a quick demo by any chance?
Sure, anytime.
Awesome. So yeah, feel free to share your screen.
Okay, let me see here.
Yeah. And for those of you who are listening over on our podcast and or just listening in, I'll be describing as Chenmu is kind of like doing some of his demo. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So what you can do is on Figma, you can search for the plugin wireframe designer, and then you can run it. So the current published version I did complete it in April. So there is a very simple version that you can just type what you want to design and click on design, and you'll generate the wireframe for that. So it's a very simple concept. Probably, you know, any of you can give an example of what you want to design, what you have in mind now. You know, through chat or
Yeah. Does
or,
anyone want to give
just
a
comment
prompt?
yourself, or you know, Dylan, if you have any examples, you can also.
I'm gonna see if anyone's adventurous enough to suggest something, because we want to also engage the audience. Does anyone have suggestions of what app should we design?
Okay, it's fine. If not, we have.
If not, let's go with like what would you say is a good use case? Like, what is a good app? maybe for pets. Maybe for pets.
Yeah, it's probably we should actually have one that is more for UI, but make Mona Lisa the second. Actually, I'm not sure what will happen if we type in that, but it's fine that if we can, you know,
make Mona Lisa the second. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the idea.
If not, we can always default it to.
Okay, that's the result.
Wow.
It gave, but
holy shit! I can't actually wait. I don't even. How is this? Like,
okay,
how would they even know?
Yeah, so basically it will definitely generate some result, but you know, based on the quality of input that you have, it will be it really depends. You know, so for example, this one, it does not make a lot of sense to me. But
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
But at least ChatGPT knows that, okay, Mona Lisa is a painting. Probably we should put an image, big image.
Yeah.
And then we probably need some description and reviews for that. And then probably you want to buy the image. So that is his guess. So what the plugin does is really just to use, I didn't do any fine tune of the model. Probably that's a future you can do. But basically it will just take whatever ChatGPT's response to this sentence and using UI components to generate a UI based on that. So probably
I think it's actually really cool. And while you think about a second prompt, I wanna just describe this to people who are listening over audio. So basically, it is a one screen wireframe of Mona Lisa II. There is no image, but it assumes that someone is actually going to buy a painting of it, and because they're going to buy a painting, it allows for size selection, and there are actually customer reviews, so you can actually add it to cart, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, the reviews are even relevant. You know, like I've never seen.
The reviews are definitely relevant. Yes, which is why I gave such a big wow just now, because I was surprised that they were able to generate relevant reviews. Yeah.
So so if we want a more serious one, we can have I'm not sure, like
let's do something around e-commerce, right?
Yeah. So basically we can have a home page for e-commerce. or
Fashion.
or a
Yeah.
fashion
Yeah.
fashion shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's do
basically.
that. Let's try it. Let's kind of like
So
do a
it will
prompt and
always,
let's see.
yeah. So basically, the content generation is not really on me, on the plugin. It's really all whatever ChatGPT return.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fashion shop, new arrivals, women, men, kids. Probably there are tabs that you can choose the categories, featured products, our brands. Okay, it says there are 3 brands, and then you can select some price range. Yeah, that's its response. So
I would say it's actually really cool. Yeah.
yeah. So actually, for the same prompt,
Yeah. Let's
even though
see if
for
it generates
ChatGPT,
something different.
yeah. So every time it will generate a different, slightly different answer, and if you really adjust the temperature of the model, you can also adjust to see, get a very wild answer or a very ordinary answer. So
Yeah.
um
That sounds
yeah,
that's
so
that's cool. I mean, even with the same prompt, you see a totally different wireframe. Yeah.
yeah, so for this one, okay, men, women, this time there's no kids, but it's fine. And
Yeah.
it has trending now. There are 3 items, and then you can
There's some
filter
really
it.
good ideas here. Yeah.
Yeah, new arrivals, email. Yeah, I think that's probably important and customer reviewable. Yeah, that's another answer. So
Yeah. That's
that's
really cool.
basically the idea of that. So I won't say that this the design generated is perfect. Of course, it's not, but it's very relevant and sometimes it's inspiring. So we can really
Yeah.
take good ideas from it. Like when I'm designing something that's I don't even have a reference because, like for example, I from the backend, people enter very innovative app ideas that they can't even find good reference in the market. That's
Yeah.
the time when they can actually use this one and then see what's the result and take some ideas from it. So yeah,
I have a question. Do you actually use this at work?
no. But if not for my own work, but
Yeah.
for some other ideas generation, I
Yeah.
will use it because it can really put up things very quickly for discussion. I would say
Okay.
like if I just need a rough UI wireframe for a homepage, no matter what it is, I need something like this quickly,
Yeah.
then it's very
Yeah.
useful. But
Yeah.
when we dive into the very details of design, there are a lot of complications that obviously the current AI can't solve. So in my actual work,
Yeah.
I don't use this plugin. But for
Yeah.
example, if I want to design a side project by myself on an app that I don't know, like some crazy idea, then this would be very useful.
Well, yeah, and I think people are getting excited. We're seeing a lot of different prompts, but we're not going to go into that. If you want to give it a try, please go sign
Probably
up
we
for a
can have another
free.
one. Let's just have another one.
Okay,
Make what's in
I'll
my
let you
fridge
pick.
app. Yeah, this is a very good example of make what's in my fridge app, something that you can't even find any reference out in the market. So basically,
Exactly.
but it will definitely give you some answer, no matter good or bad.
Yeah,
And
let's see
it's
what
a
it
bit,
comes.
it's sometimes very interesting to look at what the result is. So, okay, it has a banner on
Wow.
top as well. Select ingredient and search.
Wow.
Recipes, videos, articles,
That's pretty
recipes,
cool.
popular ingredients. Okay, so as you
It
can see,
assumes you're gonna cook. Yeah.
there are a lot of similarities generated for those. So actually, they are preset components. So what ChatGPT does is just to populate the content inside. So when I'm building these components, I try to make it as universal as possible, like the very common ones, like product card, and then selections, tabs, so that it can be easily used in a lot of situations. But due to the limitation of the number of components and the fixed template that you have, it does definitely, there are some repetitions and patterns that we can see. But I guess there's always room for improvement. So to me, adding component is definitely possible, but it's a very, to me, a tedious and not so fun process. Right now it has 8 components. If I have time, I can add to 40, 100 components, but it just takes a lot of time out of me, right? So for me, what I really interested in just to explore the idea, okay, this is definitely possible. Yeah. So if we have 100 components, then the result generated can be very different every time, and it's very inspiring every time. It just need a lot of work. So but we will just see, but for this demo of the plugin, we'll just know that, okay, it's definitely possible.
Thank you so much for showing the demo, and thank you for all your prompts. If you would like to try this for yourself, please sign up for a free Figma account, figma.com, and download the plugin Wireframe Designer by Chenmu Wu, and you'll be able to see for yourself what it generates. So far, I think the results are very, very interesting and somewhat also surprising. So I think we can stop sharing.
I actually wanted to share some more, because recently I'm also, by popular demand, I'm also working on.
You have a beta version that you're working on development. So we get to see the preview. Yes, go on.
I'm actually planning to publish it soon. So this one, the main improvement that we did is to add a desktop capability. So right now you see just there isn't any.
It's always mobile.
Yes, mobile. And then I added the desktop components. So, and also the paid version, I'm trying to get this project sustainable. But for the free version, you are already able to generate mobile or desktop design. And then there is a separate text field that for you to enter the context. For example, my what is it? What's in my fridge?
Let's do that.
And then the actual design tasks, a lot of times is not about the context. For example, what I want is a homepage with homepage about recipes, for example. Or a homepage about shopping list. I'm not sure. Like, I think.
Let's do that.
So basically, these are 2 different types of information. What's in my fridge app for teenagers? This is the background of the app, but the design task is probably a homepage about shopping list. You can change the design task, for example, like my account page or different pages, but context is usually a fixed thing, right? And then you can generate the desktop design right now. This is something that actually
I love the little GIF that you created.
I created the GIF, and right now it is streaming the design, so you can see how the design.
It's like it's literally like the design has been printed.
Yes. It generated component by component. So right now, okay, it has this shopping list. You can add item, all items. Add items to shopping list. Okay, sometimes I think it's a valid design. So basically we have added a homepage for grocery. I'm not sure, like grocery
store.
Grocery store. Stock. Let's just. I'm not sure. Like basically.
Let's kind of try that.
Oh, it's called store. Okay, so
So
basically all the content is generated by ChatGPT. Whether it's good or bad, or so I'm not controlling that yet. But yeah, that's it. So what it generates, okay, my grocery store, you can search for items. My stock, you can clear or add item. So each one you can clear or add. And dairy, chicken or anything. And then shopping list, you can clear and add. And then there's your profile.
Nice.
So it's making sense, and it's doing, I think, a good job, because it has, teenager, you see what the context is providing, and also, yeah. So it's actually very relevant, and then it can take some good inspirations from it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for showing us a preview. And someone did ask, like, what would happen if there are very detailed prompts. I'm sure you will be able to find out if you give it a try later when Chenmu releases the final version. But thank you for showing a preview. Very impressive demo. I'm just wondering, since we're on this topic, right? It's generative AI. We see AI actually generating written content. We see AI generating images and photography. Now we see AI generating wireframes. Are UX designers going to lose their jobs very soon? That's the question.
I think for UX, especially UX designers, I think it's not so effective. I think it will really empower UX designers. And for UI designers, I would also feel that UI designers will be more focusing on design system. And then another part of the UI designers are probably going to be PMs. So basically, if we have a very complete design system, as demonstrated in the plugin, if we have a very good set of components, not only 8, but like 100, and then we have a very good content generation system that use the design system, then the problem is more on, I think the work is more on solving the problem itself, which most of the time product managers do. And for UI, if you only do UI, you will be very focusing on the generation of the components. That's what I feel. But either way, we will always get job and make our lives easier by using AI. For UI designers, I really feel that it's just a very helpful tool that it can quickly incorporate some ideas we have in mind, and then quickly generate, visualize our ideas. So I think we will not lose job. It's just what we will do about it. Because AI is machine. In my opinion, the problem of generated AI in terms of product is that we still need to. A lot of times we have a very strong will to control the product, which AI won't provide. We have such a strong will to control the product, control our business, that the AI can't be accountable for. Like, we have nobody to blame if we just use the AI's version. But it's a sad truth. Or I think it's a reality. We need to let people to do it, to make it accountable, and then for the result, and then to be able to implement our will to control what we want to have. So usually what AI can generate, even for Midjourney and ChatGPT, is that it can generate a 80% good result to me. So for example, if I use ChatGPT for my email, I never copy the entire result into my email. I always have to make edit. Probably you can say that that's not good enough yet, but I would say that it's because people are so willing to control the result that they have to do some modifications on top of AI. It's especially for Even for image generation, if you don't know how to draw, actually you can use Midjourney to generate a 80% good result. But if you're a professional designer, you will know that the result generated is still not exactly what you want, no? So you must work on top of it. So basically, that's what I feel about the UI, the AI technology right now. It's always a very helpful tool for us to start with, but eventually, we still need to decide what if the end result looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. So UX designers, your jobs are not at risk yet, at least with the current AI technology.
When we are talking about the job as risk, I feel that it's not a good term to use. I feel it's like,
tell me more.
Even if UX researcher, we don't need UI researcher anymore. The problem, the thing we should think of right now is that if I use AI, what kind of contribution can I do for what we want to do? Yeah, so it's like another era. So when the industrial revolution comes, people think that okay, workers will lose their jobs because machine will take over the works, right? But right now we are all good, right? Because it's more about how you can do with the machines. And then it's actually creating much more needs and much more jobs. So it's the same. I guess it's the same thing that will happen to AI. We are afraid AI will take a lot of jobs, but actually AI is taking over a lot of jobs that is boring for us. And then we can focus on a lot more meaningful things. Like we don't need to do repetitive work in the factory because machine take over the work. Now we don't have to do UX research. We can think about our own business and let AI do the UX research in the future. Probably everyone can be an entrepreneur very easily, and you can get UX research results very easily in the future. That's also possible, but probably not in the near future. Even if it's possible, even all the UX researchers are replaced by machine, it's also fine. Like we can focus on more interesting stuff, So that's my
yeah. Chenmu, thank you for bringing that important distinction into the discussion, because just like computers, people were thinking computers are going to replace a lot of our workers, or software is going to replace a lot of our workers. But eventually we just learn to work with computers. Eventually we just learn to work with software. So AI is like the next thing that we have to learn how to work with. And we have a participant over here who said she read somewhere that AI will not replace people's jobs. It will just replace people who refuse to learn to work with it. Agree, disagree?
Yeah, for me, I completely agree. So we really should embrace it and to see what we can do with it. Don't be afraid to try out and, get our hands dirty on trying out whatever technology available.
That's amazing. And you are working on an AI plugin. You are experimenting with AI, and you've been working in the design industry for a long time. So I'm just trying to understand from you, if you're hiring people right now, if you're hiring UX designers right now, do you have the expectation for them to be open to using AI, or is there anything that you're looking out for as a hiring manager, right? Because you're a UX lead yourself. What are kind of the attributes that you're looking out for modern designers?
I think having the interest for technology is definitely a plus. If you have experience in doing that, is definitely a plus. But I think especially for designer, being open-minded is very important. So yeah, but in terms of work, actually, it's really about what kind of specialization we want. It is really paying attention to the details kind, or because different job scopes have very different, very distinctive requirements. So for example, like UI designer, I really hope that we can have people that's really paying attention to the details, because if UI designers are not doing it and nobody is doing it, like PMs can generate wireframes themselves. Our job is really to make it into the pixels, like all the icons align and then things are doing well. And then we can consolidate these into components that can be reused so that we can make our work more efficient. So that's really about UI, paying attention to details and consolidate components. But you know, for UX researchers, is really about finding problems, being able to generate a process for us to have you know, the next step vision for the product, getting to know the users, what we should do next. The focus are very different, I would say, but something in common, for example, like being keen and sensitive and open for the new technology is definitely a plus. But yeah, also I think being able to make our work more efficient is also important. Whether it is using AI or creating a SOP or consolidate documents and sharings. I think whatever the tool is, making our work more efficient is a good point, I would say. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with our listeners. And I'm wondering, you know, how should designers prepare for the future? Right now with technology, now with so much disruption, how should they prepare themselves? Whether they're interested in joining the industry or whether they're actually already in the industry, how should they prepare for the future where product development is actually going to be even more enabled by technology?
Yeah, I think it's really, we need to focus on the important things. And there are skills that are timeless, which I feel that we should really focus on. You know, in terms of product thinking, this kind of timeless qualities and skills is really important. That's what I feel. So
yeah, and I think one of the listeners saying, you know, we got to remember that UX wasn't even a thing 10 years ago.
yeah.
So and it's true. If like I'm working in education, right? So we actually teach people not just the hard skills but also the soft skills and building products and designing products as well. So I'm just going to list a few things, and you can tell me whether they make sense and actually these are so-called the timeless skills that you want. Number one is critical thinking. Would you consider that a timeless skill?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Number two is, I would say, something along the lines of like communication and stakeholder management.
Yeah, that's super important for designers. I think designers are actually a communication role sometimes, because we communicate using the design that we have. Because a lot of times PMs and business, they can't talk to each other before we put a design in front of them, and they can appraise it or criticize it. It's a communication role as a designer.
Yeah. Number three, I would say facilitation skills, being able to get people in the room and facilitate something.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's awesome. Number four would be, I would say, maybe to a certain degree, project management skills. I mean, it sounds really old-fashioned, but being able to manage a project.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so there are definitely a lot of more. I
Yeah,
think
I
as
think
you progress in your
even
career,
even
yeah.
I think not only soft skills, but even hard skills, like the things that
Mm,
we feel that it's it can be replaced by machine. To a certain extent, if your hard skills are good enough and you have good enough critical thinking, you will become the one who developing those tools, like I did for the wireframe designers. For hard
yeah.
skills, if you go into a level, you will try to consolidate and summarize and having a set of rules by yourself so that people can use it.
Mm,
And that is the very good, very meaningful thing about hard skills. So for example, like designers, what actually I'm thinking, especially
mm,
with the use of AI, what we are doing as a designer, exactly what we are doing. So basically, we have a set of information, like design requirements. What needs to be displayed on the page, right? Then the next thing what we do is we structuralize this information,
mm,
make it into with good information hierarchy. We think
mm,
with our product thinking, we think about what information is important, what is not, what we want the user to see first, then second. So we make a good structure of the information. Then with our visual sense, with a good UI sense, we make it into a good looking interface.
design.
And
Yeah.
that is only the interface level. We also think about, interactions, motions, and also the entire user flow, not only one page, right? So that's exactly what we do for, okay, like this plugin. So GPT is very good at structured content. It can generate very good
Mm,
structured content. If you ask it anything, it will structure it like first, second, third. Like it will give you points, and then you give you a structured answer. GPT is very good at this. And then what we do is taking this information and using our visual skills to structure the content even more and realizing them into good UI components. That
mm,
is essentially the how to say, the job of a designer. If you think
yeah.
about in first principle, what we are doing, our input, if we are a machine, our input is the information, our output is the flow. But what happens in between? We structure the
Yeah.
information, then we do the UI. So
And we absorb it. Yeah.
yeah, so if you have very good hard skills, for example, how you structure the information hierarchy, right? And how
Mm,
you make this information into UIs. If you have a very solid methodology of your own, you can actually
mm.
productize it and into a tool. That is really good level hard skill that I think is very important as well. Like this is timeless as well, that you can build things that automate by itself. Yeah.
I I love your line of thought because I'm trying to maybe bring an analogy to it. It's like you are a craftsman, right? You maybe you built swords like in the past, right? And you know how to build the best sword.
Yes.
But one day you decide that, you know what, I'm gonna build the best tools to
To
build the
build
best sword.
sword. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
If you know all the details of how to build a good sword, then
yeah,
you are the best man to design the machine that build the best sword. So
exactly. So
that's
um,
yeah, that's the thing that we should use with AI as well. Like it's an empowering tool for us to
mm,
think about how we can do. So the hard skills are actually very important. If you don't
mm,
know the very details of how to build a sword, how to make it sharp, what's the process, you can't build a good machine of building sword. That's it.
that is true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna get replaced anytime, but we do need to maybe go to a higher higher order of thinking, to think about things at a system level, to think about the principles, to think about even like things at a component level and the building blocks, right? So that we can actually empower ourselves and, if possible, even empower others, like what Chenmu is doing right now with his plugin. This is really interesting. What can we expect for your future development phases? Now that we saw that you're gonna try and monetize it, you have the desktop version of it coming out. What are you looking to do more with your plugin?
For me, we have a lot of plans in mind, but to me, it's already good enough, to be honest. So this is always a fun project for me. So making it monetized is just a way for it to be self-sustainable, because I'm right now paying for the API myself. So I don't want to pay for that every month. I wanted someone probably you appreciate enough that can pay for the cost of the plugin, so it can become self-sustainable. Because that's I think it's the thing about side project, that at first it's very fun. The idea is very scrappy, but it's very fun. And then to an extent, it will go into a stage of that is not so fun. You are adding components and adding functionalities coming from function requests coming from people. If there isn't a very strong incentive, for example, the plugin made a lot of money, well, then probably I will consider, investing more time on it. But the idea is the thing that fascinates me the most. Hopefully, I can be, I have more incentives to work on it in the future. But the thing that I have in mind right now is that first, it can definitely generate the entire flow instead of a single screen. So if you want an entire flow, for example, the entire purchase flow from homepage to product details to checkout and then payment, that's definitely possible. That we just need GPT to generate multiple results. Something else is more fine-tuning the model, because right now I think GPT is already a good enough model, but there's potential to fine-tune it. For example, we can have a voting system after each result. So yeah, make Mona Lisa the second result we generate is like this. How do you think? Like it's 5 or 10, right? And then with the voting, we can actually fine-tune the model and make it become better and better in UI design. So like if you voted very bad, then probably next time it won't generate this kind of in this direction. So that's fine-tuning. And of course, if I have time, we can really incorporate a lot of components, not only wireframe components, but UI components with integration into design system. For example, you can choose theme color, you can choose whatever UI styles you want, but it's really depending on how much component we have and how many sets of components we have, right? So like the Framer AI that we have right now is only one set, but I think Adobe also have this recent feature called Shuffle Color that you can click to generate the color theme, and then you can actually choose from whatever color theme that the AI generates that's suitable. So that's also definitely possible. And then in another direction, to the more personalized direction, right now there are a lot of existing design systems with a lot of components. So with the right parameter input, we can actually integrate the AI into existing components. I'm not sure, like material design. We can generate exact material themed design instead of using this wireframe component that I wrote, and end design for enterprise products. Yeah, So we have I have a lot.
I think it's incredibly exciting. Please don't review all your ideas. And Adobe, if you're listening to this, you should definitely hire Chenmu right here. I think it's gonna give a big push to whatever you're building over there. I'm just curious. I'm gonna ask it on behalf of some of the audience members. You know, writing a plugin requires you to learn how to code, right? How much coding knowledge did you need to have to get this up and running?
Oh, you mean for Figma
For
plugin?
Figma.
Okay, so if you really want to do a Figma plugin, I think it's a more easier job than developing a full-fledged web app, because Figma already have a good documentation, a good support. Everything is very clear and up to date. So Figma is really amazing that the plugin API document is very well written and up to date. And I think developing Figma plugin is one of the easier things that you can do with some basic coding knowledge for JavaScript.
Okay.
And HTML. And you know, the front end stuff. You don't need to worry about back end. You can just do this all pure front end knowledge.
So what I hear you say, it's actually quite easy if someone's willing to invest some time to learn about front end and be able to pick it up quite quickly because of the amazing documentation.
If you want to learn, I think if you want to learn about front end, probably it's still good to take a course. But if you know a bit of front end and you want to set up a basic Figma plugin, you can just read the first chapter of the plugin document. Then you can have a drawing rectangle plugin set up already. At the end of the document, you should be able to set up a plugin that helps you to draw rectangles, which is very basic, but it helps to set up.
Okay,
and then
thank you.
Templates that you can use. And there are a lot of code base on GitHub that you can just grab them. So I think it's comparing to building a fully functional web app. Figma plugin is actually more simple.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. And you know, the other thing I noticed when you were talking about your product and you seem really excited about it, is that all the different tangents you go to in terms of thinking about the product. And I'm just wondering, you know, how can designers refine or train their product thinking? Because I realize you're actually maybe one of the few designers I've met that actually have very, very interesting, I would say very, very in-depth product sense. Like, how did you train yours up? Yeah.
I guess it has to be learned through work or the actual project that you do and get criticized by good people, good teachers. Yeah, that's how we learn. We should not be afraid of being criticized and then take the feedback that we have. Basically, the product is for users if we are targeting. And then whatever we think we need to should be aligned. And then we should also have the vision of what they want. And then I think most of the knowledge I learned through work on actual products and get criticized by good people. And then we learn how they think. And then, yeah, I think that's basically. I don't read a lot. I don't. I read some very classic UX books, but most of the knowledge is actually learned from getting my hands dirty. And you know, at the end of each project that we do, we really do some ritual to think about what we learned and what can be carried forward. That's. Yeah, because for example, a lot of people like in their resume, they say, okay, 10 years of experience, right? And then 20 years of experience as designer. But what does it mean? You can be 20 years and then doing icons. Not saying doing icons is meaningless, but you know, and you can spend 1 year but getting very intensely criticized by very or intense discussion and exercise on how you think about the product, realizing a product. So I think the actual knowledge that we have is really important. For each project that we do, we really think about what we have learned, what we should do in the future or not. That's it.
Yeah, it sounds like a combination of really good feedback from really good people, right? Who are, well, most likely better than you, and the practice and the culture of actually constantly reflecting,
Yes.
continuously and regularly, which is really great. I'm very heartened to hear about this, because when we design our programs, especially for our 4-month UX program, that's the way we teach our students, as well. So that's amazing. And you're a designer that is doing a side hustle, right? Do you feel more positive if you see a candidate, someone apply for a job at your team or your company, and you see they have a side hustle, right? They run a small business, or they do some fun projects on the side, or they do some volunteer work for a charity or something like that. Would you have a better impression of the candidate, provided that their skills are competent?
Yeah, sure. Because it's mutual. I think good hiring manager will understand that side hustles can actually always become the inspirations from work. And also work will also be the inspirations for our side hustles. So it's like very mutual contribution. Yeah, that's what I feel. Because, for example, I for Figma plugins I did, you can consider it as work, because it's like making myself more efficient. Not only this plugin, and also the other plugins that I did. And I also did some internal plugins for the companies I worked, and I'm planning to do for Daraz currently as well. So the knowledge I learned for work empower me to work on top of it and do something on my own. But while I'm doing, for example, wireframe designer, I start to think about what is the essence of design, and what is the thing that we should focus on, and how do we consolidate our experience and knowledge into a tool that can empower others. That is basically what, if you are a good designer enough, if you want to become a design leader and empower other designers, what you need to do is really consolidate your knowledge and teach it to other designers. That's making the plugin really makes me think about, how can I do it? So it's very helpful for my work as well. So yeah, definitely, if your side hustle is okay, from a pure hiring perspective, your side hustle is related to your work, is definitely good. Even if it's not, I think it's also good, also fine. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for the encouragement. And I'm just wondering, you working on this side hustle, you're also like volunteering for this session to share your knowledge and your experience. Is there anything you're looking for? Like, are you looking for volunteers to test your app? Are you looking for people to fund your product roadmap? Or are you looking to, connect with certain types of people? Is there anything that you're on the lookout for?
Right now, actually, I'm about to publish this new version of plugin very soon. So I'm looking for users. So basically, please follow me on LinkedIn. And when I post it, please show your support. It's really very meaningful to me. And then I'm planning to launch it in Product Hunt as well. So don't hesitate to give a comment and give upvote for it if you really enjoy the plugin. So basically that's it. I'm always willing to share the knowledge and my thoughts to other people, because that's very helpful for me myself as well. So yeah, if you ask about what I'm looking for this session, is really, please keep in tune, follow me on LinkedIn, and then yeah, try it out, try the plugin out.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Chenmu Wu from Daraz, UX and UI lead of Daraz. Feel free to find him on LinkedIn, connect with him, and he is going to release it on Product Hunt, as well as the next version of his plugin. So do give your support, whether it's monetary or whether it's just typing a nice comment, because so many people have a lot of critical things to say. I remember when I was reading your first post, when you first published the plugin, I was like, why are people saying such nasty things about about your plugin? This is just a demo.
Yeah,
So
but they are very good
Yes.
discussions. I like their comments as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it would benefit the discussion. It would definitely help Chenmu's work if you give your honest feedback and also add meaningful contribution to it and test it. Like good users, give him some feedback as well, so that he can further improve it and help more designers be able to ideate nice wireframes when they are doing their design process. Any parting advice for designers, to prepare for the future or in general?
Okay, I think the audience are all
It's a mix. Some are
okay, I see.
designers, some are non-designers,
Yeah,
but they're all from different parts of the world.
yeah, I think I hope that more designers are more willing to share your work. That's also, I think that's the most important thing. Share your work and get feedback. I think there's this book called Show Your Work, right? So that's very important. Show your work and get feedback, no matter how scrappy the idea is or how not confident you are, and being willing to get good and bad feedback from others, because that's how we learn. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's very inspiring advice, and show your work, designers, and don't be afraid to iterate from your very initial versions, even if you're a little embarrassed about it. And with that, we'd like to end the live session. Thank you everyone for attending, and we shall see you again in our next episode and next session, working in UX design.